Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Right Now Roofing Xfinity Series here in the Goat Locker Racing League. You're watching VSRN. I'm Eddie Smith, and welcome to the round of 8. Well, Trevor McManus wins last week, able to lock himself into the next round with a very dramatic finish and an incredible pit strategy that is able to move him into the next round. And so now we have the round of 8, and we're going to race on for 2 more races, knock it back down to 4, and go championship racing here in the Xfinity Series. Glad y'all were able to join us tonight. Hope y'all are having a wonderful night. Excited for some good racing here. Want to thank our sponsors, Right Now Roofing, for their sponsorship of this Xfinity Series. Been a massive, massive partner of Goat Locker this season, and really glad to have them on board. Jam Printing and Promotions, Veterans for Life Foundation, Cruising Classics, and Premier Racing Setups. Well, we look at the schedule, and we are down to the final 3 races. I can't believe it. It feels like we started this just yesterday, but Kansas, the round of 8, then Phoenix next week, and then we settle it all at Iowa. Well, who's going to be doing that? Well, we've got it down to 8. I mean, just a heartbreaker for some folks. A lot of folks, last week's race was pretty rough. I mean, Charlie Harcum jumps out immediately as he got turned early in the race, could never get back on the lead lap, and he is going to miss out on the playoffs, moving on to the next round. So heartbreaking there for him. But you look who we got. I mean, so far the top 3 up there have been the best drivers all season long. I mean, Jake Denson 3 wins, Trevor McManus 3 wins, Jake Ellingson 2 wins. They have been the class of the field, but Patrick Dravitt was able to get a win towards the end of the season. He was the best of the rest for a long time, so I think Patrick Dravitt still, kind of fits into that class. Scott Phelps, George Jewell, Jamie Barkers, Chance Taylor, they have not as consistent as the other 4 drivers, which is why they're down on the bottom. Now, Scott Phelps has been really, really good, yet to get a win. But those drivers definitely have something left in the tank, and it's not over for them. They can definitely jump in and grab a win in one of these races and move on to the Final 4. And we've seen guys have a lot of trouble, been issues that have happened in these races that have really turned the points upside down. I mean, Charlie Harcum was a top 5 point driver all season long, missed out on the round of 8 just from one bad race. So it is definitely possible for that to happen here tonight. So if you're George Jewell, Jamie Barkas, Chance Taylor, Scott Phelps, it's not a knock on you. You have the opportunity tonight to change that narrative and put yourself into the conversation to race for a championship in 2 weeks. So, well, we move on to tonight, Kansas Speedway. The quintessential 1.5 miler in Kansas City, Kansas, opened in 2001, one of the newer tracks on the circuit, and it's going to show you why. It is perfectly built. There have been sometimes in NASCAR's history that Kansas may not have put on the best racing, but here on iRacing, it's a little bit different. It is a fantastic track, multiple grooves. Ever since they added the ability to run in multiple, middle, top, bottom, wherever you want to run, this track gives you that. Now, when it was just one lane, it was right around the top. That's the only place you could run. You didn't have an opportunity, but with the dynamic track updates that iRacing has implemented, it's changed everything about this track, and it is definitely one of my favorite tracks. It went from the worst track, in my opinion, to one of the best. It's one of my favorites to get out there and just drive. I said the other night to someone that this track is so much fun just to drive by yourself, whether you're first, whether you're second, whether you're 15th or 20th, it's still a blast to race on. You're going to see a lot of good racing here tonight. We'll see who we got on cam here tonight. We got the normal folks. We got Trevor, we got Jacob, and we got Pat, and of course Ryan Pendleton there. So gonna get some good in-car footage here tonight. Trevor, excited to be back into this round of 8 after that needing that win last week. He's able to get it and knocked it out of the park. So congratulations to him. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get into the grid here tonight, as we're already ready to roll, as they're already on the track. Let's see who's going to start on the front row. Ryan Pendleton was able to lock down the only flat out of the whole group. Going to start first. Jacob Denson, your points leader, technically, is going to start in second. Starting in third, Levi McCarty, somebody who has been in the mix all the last 3 or 4 races. Pretty new to the series, started late, but has definitely turned some heads. A lot of people talking about him. Good to see. I like that. Craig Von Traeger has been in the mix every single week as well, so we'll see. They can get up here and play spoiler with some of these playoff drivers. Starting in 5th, going to be Patrick Drabick and Jacob Ellingson, the Goat Locker boys, side by side in row number 3. Jamie Barkas, Chris Sawyer in 7th and 8th. 9th is Joe Yanks. Good to see him in the field tonight. Tanner Bethea going to be in top 10. Charlie Harcum in 11th with Trevor McManus in 12th. 13th, Stephen Bartlett. And 14th is Scott Phelps. Chance Taylor, 15th. Daniel Blow in 16th. 17th, Regis Clark. Brian Provo in the 18th position. 19th, George Jewell. John Anthony in 20th. 21st, Bobby Tremaine with Jonathan Barker in 22nd. 23rd, Matt Knights and Tyler Justice. Going to round out your field here tonight. Well, let's take a look at your race analysis. We get ready to go green here. 100 laps, 45 miles an hour pit road speed. It's going to be tough to get on pit road here tonight. 4 total tire sets, 2 green, white checkered attempts, 100% fuel load, fixed setup in a fuel run, anywhere between 50 to 54 laps. So if we go green, it'll be a 1 stopper for sure. So, all right, pace car leading us down to the green flag. We're going to get this thing rolling here soon. And, Kansas is going to provide, here we go, round number 1 in the round of 8 here at Kansas Speedway. Ryan Pendleton going to lead us down to the green flag. Green flag is out here at Kansas. already see guys all over the track. This is why we love Kansas, as you see right there. Ryan Pendleton has the lead, working that outside. And talked to a little bit to these guys before the race, and Ryan Pendleton talked about how much he likes Kansas. It's a lot of fun to get up there and work that top side, run all over the track if you want to. And so folks consider the bottom maybe the best place to maybe save some tire if you can get the car to work. But it just depends on the track state. Temperature really means a lot, and you see most everybody up at the top right now. On iRacing, the bottom usually is the best place to save those tires because your tires don't get too hot and you're able to save a little bit. But you'll see, like you watch right here at Patrick Rabbit, it makes it very difficult when someone gets to your outside and you see the runs and momentum that you get off the high side. You can run the bottom, but you'll find yourself under attack a lot. As we look up here, someone who's under attack, that's Ryan Pendleton. And we're going to see just how difficult it is to pass on that inside. Is Ryan able to defend Jacob off here early, dives down under the apron, and is still running that top side. And you can see they are running very close. Levi McCarty here in that number 18 machine. He was about as high as you can get and making that run work. Well, I should go on board with him and just watch as they run. Not quite full throttle. They have to lift, maybe a little bit of brake, get right back on the throttle. And the key is just to try to make sure you don't turn the steering wheel too much. You don't, slide the rears off the corner, which I think would be very difficult tonight, slide the rears. The track temp's only 69 degrees, so you're going to have sort of a snug feel all night. Loose is probably not going to be something that you'll deal with till very later on, or if you mess up and light those rear tires up on that car. So it's going to be it's going to be snug. You're going to have a lot of grip out there. Really want to make sure that you just keep the tires under you and try to stay out of that wall. That's going to be the big ticket here tonight, is just stay off the wall. You're going to have to run 100 laps up there. That's 200 corners you're going to have to do up near the wall to make speed. And the closer you get to that outside line, the best, as it does form sort of a cushion and will actually help that car turn just a little bit better, especially as the run goes on. But right now, Ryan Pendleton is out to about a 0.2 of a second lead over Jacob Denson, but Jacob not letting him get away at the moment. Levi's just shortly right behind him. Jamie Barkas has already moved up a couple spots here in that number 15 machine. He is looking to continue to fight for a championship. Not out of it. Just needs to have good races. Jamie will admit that sometimes that he has some issues getting caught up in other folks' stuff and maybe some stuff from his doing, but he is still in it, and he has got a great opportunity tonight, although his teammate all over the back bumper of that 15 machine as a crossover to lap number 8. Check in on a couple more playoff drivers. Right now, George Jewell is running back in 19th position. That's where he started, so he's got a lot of work to do if he's going to catch up. These rounds, you do not get mulligans. That's one thing about the round of 8, and not picking on anybody in particular, but that's just the way that it is. Once you get to the round of 8, you have to perform, and with it being only 2 races in a round, you don't have a whole lot of time. So George, very strong last week, had a great run towards the end, that same strategy that Trevor McManus had, and was able to get a great finish and almost thought about getting a win in one of the races last week. So George knows how to do it. I actually am not worried too much about him being back in 19th. I think we'll see him up towards the front before this thing is over with. He definitely knows how to bide his time, but got to be careful. You don't want to have a bad finish here tonight. You don't want to finish 19th. He's got to get up there inside the top 10 if he's going to continue to battle for this championship, because it's only stout from here on out. As he actually blinks out. He does come back, though, so don't worry. But up front, it's still Ryan Pendleton in that 23 machine. Take a look on board with Ryan, see what he's got going on. Just trying to keep his car right where it needs to be. You know, there is a little bit of draft, you know, with this this type of package. So, these guys are always going to be sort of in the toe of the driver in front of them. You can see they're kind of nose to tail. That will continue to taper off, and you being out front, it's a huge advantage here at Kansas. You're able to run the top and the bottom. We've talked about that already. But what you'll see is the bottom, very difficult to make passes unless you commit to it. That's the big thing about the bottom. You have to commit to the bottom. You have to run that bottom line, and you got to keep going maybe to the end of the run. You can't really give up on his man. Ryan gets really close to the wall there as they come up off of 2. But, yeah, I mean, you can't run the top. If you run the top, you'll heat those right sides up, especially the right front. And then as you try to go down to the bottom, the car just won't turn from middle off. It'll make it very, very difficult. So you got to pick one or the other. And if you decide to run the top majority of the race, I think that's where you're going to have to stay. We're going to see caution, though, is out on the track. And I don't know who we've got going. It looks like Trevor McManus. Trevor McManus, slow on the track. We'll take a look at him. He is not happy. Something has happened to the 9 machine, and motor is blown. So he is dead in the water unless he tows, and that's exactly what he does. He's going to have to get that fast repair, but he's going to have to tow, and that is, you can see the frustration. That's the mistakes you can't have happen in these 2-car rounds. Let's see if we can take a look and see what happened to Trevor. Catch sort of the back end of it. Oh, man, just comes right up in the track in front of, it looks like I can't see who that was. It may have been the 20 of Tanner Bethea. See if we can get maybe a better view of it. He's going 3 wide, and he comes back up on the track. He's got, I think that's his teammate, Regis Clark, down below him. And I think what Trevor's expecting here as he goes through the middle is expecting the 20 to go out towards the exit of the wall. And when he doesn't, contact's made. And I think, it's hard to say. To take a look one more time, try to get a little bit better angle there. You can see Trevor going right through the middle. And then right here, he's trying to go up the track, but it's a little bit early. I don't know. I don't know what Tanner could have done there. But Trevor just goes right across his nose, and now big trouble for the 9 machine. All right, well, pit stops happening as Joe Yates going to stay out on track, 15 laps here. And you see 4 tires and fuel for these guys. Interesting calls to see that so early, but I think that, I don't know. You got 4 tire sets in the race. So you should have 3 in the pit, so that is 1. So they are on their 2nd set. So interesting calls there. So assuming, from that tells me that tires are really important. And they're expecting to see maybe long runs. So if you don't pit right there, and we'll see. I mean, 15 laps is quite a bit. If you don't pit there, I think Joe will unless he comes down this time, I think we'll see the difference of not taking tires. If we go all the way to the end of this, if we have a full green flag fuel run, where we go to the end of the fuel tanks, Joe will definitely be hurting towards the end of that thing, but that's sort of the gamble that they're playing. Now, if we get another 15, 20 lap run and another caution, then Joe is in a good spot, most likely. So I don't hate the call, that's for sure. We're going to see how it stacks up. Everybody else comes down and gets 4 tires and fuel. Trevor McManus, the only driver, multiple laps down. He's 3 laps down now. He's going to need some help to get back into this thing. He's still waiting on that tow and that fast repair to get back out on the track. But we are doubled up, getting ready to go back green. Joe Yates will lead us down to the green flag, and I think we'll see in turn 1, especially turn 3, just how much of a difference 16-lap tires will make. And we'll know exactly if it was the right call or the wrong call really quickly. All right, green flag does pull off, and here we go. Back to green flag racing into the Geico restart zone. Joe Yakes with control of the start. Gets a great jump there. Ryan Pendleton gets the throttle down. He's got a big push coming from Patrick Drabick behind him, and wow, does a really good job pushing each other down into turn one. We're going to see right here, will tires 15 laps, how big a difference do they make? And right now, if you're Ryan Pendleton, you're thinking, I do not want to get stuck behind this 87, and Jacob Denson taking advantage of it, using him as a pick, and Jacob Denson will go to the lead here on lap 17. And Yates immediately back to third, and he's about to lose another spot, as those new tires are just going to eat him alive here, as he's got a whole field to hold off. So Denson takes the lead. That has been scary all season long. Whenever he gets out front, he is a dangerous driver. He's one of those that will lead every single lap from here on out. So you want to be careful to not let that happen. He is so good at defending the lead and managing a race. One of the better race managers. Very little mistakes on the season out of this number 7 machine. So, but look back here. Levi McCarty, Jacob Ellingson, Tanner Bethea, Scott Feltz, as they're trying to get around Joe Yakes. Yakes already, after a couple laps, already down into the 9th position. So I don't think this strategy call is going to work out. Now, I do know Joe. I've raced with him quite a bit, and he always hedges his bets on having an extra set of tires when everybody else uses theirs. So I know that that's what Joe does, and I would imagine that is the same idea here. You see Levi going to slide up in front of Jacob. Jacob going to make the decision to go down to the bottom and try to use that momentum that he had and try to make this pass on Levi. But, yeah, Joe, I think, might just be going to wait this one out, see if that extra set comes into play. If it does, you know, if we have a long green flag run for it. Oh, they're going to make contact. That's Ellingson and Barkas. Those are teammates. And Ellingson almost took out both of them. So, scary moment for Jacob. I mean, that's a heart stopper right there. That's one you got to, it comes up in your throat and you got to swallow it back down. Levi McCarty, though, going to try to sneak up to the outside of Jamie Barkas. Not quite able to do it. We'll see if he dives down to the bottom. Nope, going to drive right into his car tracks and follow him as they try to run down these leaders up front. See Scott Feltz all over the 27, going to actually drive up off the top side down to the bottom, use that run to get position. Doesn't get that great a run. We'll see if he can pull off a slide job here. A well-executed slide job is sometimes what needs to happen. He's not going to do that here. Jacob's got it wound up. And looks like Jacob going to be able to hold him off here on the outside. It's going to be tough for Scott to make that pass work. Joe Yakes already down to 17th at the moment on those old tires. So 15 laps does make a big difference. We continue to watch this battle. Jacob Ellingson able to hold off Scott Feltz. Now they're going to be able to try to move forward, as you don't want to let this group get away. But right now, Jacob Denson all the way up at the wall. But Ryan Pendleton on the hunt, not letting him get away. And that's exactly what you have to do. Beacon down to the inside. Going to give a little bit of fresh air to the front end of that 23 machine. When he gets right behind him, it's easy to got to get that wash, lose the air on the front of the car, and that makes it really tight in the middle. So running behind somebody can really be difficult on these cars. And you're not able to carry as much speed, not able to get on the throttle as soon as Jacob can. See him have to lift a little bit, but he does get a nice run. So a big run here for Ryan Pendleton. He not big enough to go down to the bottom. I think he'll lose a position trying it. But right now, just kind of riding back here, trying to make sure that he doesn't lose sight of the 7. Keep those tires under him. Try not to do anything crazy. Get down to the bottom. You start really having to turn that wheel off the exit of the corner, trying to make that pass. Really burn that right front up. It's very, very difficult to pass at this track. That battle continues on as you see Patrick Drabick back there trying to hang tight on this group. Back here, Chance Taylor up 5 spots. He is moving. talked about those playoff drivers. Chance Taylor was able to sneak in last week. What a great race that was, and what a great drive by him to get into the round of 8. And right now doing a great job of trying to get to the round of 4 as 6 spots from where he started up into the 9th position as he passes Charlie Harcum. George Jewell has moved up 3 spots, so he is moving up as well. Other big movers: Scott Phelps in the 79 and the number 8 of Regis Clark. He is up 6 spots, starting in the 17th position, up to 11th. Trying to run down Charlie Harcum for that top 10 position. You can see Regis all the way up against the wall. He is really making that outside line work. Oh, somebody going through the grass. That's Charlie. Oh, no, that's Chance Taylor going through the grass. Oh, was just talking good about him and then goes right through the grass. We'll see exactly what happened here as he comes off the corner. Look at a little replay here. Oh, gets into the wall. Once he does, yanks it left to try to get it off the wall. And he goes through the grass, comes back on the track, going to blend in around the 14th position. So, scary moment. Couple playoff drivers having some issues here. Trevor McManus out of this race, it looks like. I don't see him on the track anymore. Looks like he may have exited out. Yeah, he manually disconnected. So Trevor McManus, one of your 8 playoff drivers, out of this one. That will likely put him in a must-win situation next week at Phoenix. And, boy, that is a tough situation to be in. Up front, the battle for the lead really staying hot as Ryan Pendleton not letting the 7 get any kind of breathing room. Down to the bottom goes Ryan Pendleton, gives a little look-see. He actually loses a little bit of time there doing that. I see Trevor driving out on track right now. He's not in this server. So I wonder if he went over to Phoenix and said, "You know what? I need to start working on my Phoenix car and get ready to win that race," because he's going to need to do it after an early exit here at Kansas. Ryan Pendleton gets a little bit loose and now is falling back as these tires start to get a little bit hot with 16 laps into this set, and this is the longest that we've been on tires. So we're about to see exactly who's got what on the long run. Scott Phelps still moving up through the field. Now he's back to the back bumper of Jacob Ellingson. Scott Phelps, another playoff driver, seems to be got a really good card here tonight. Jacob Ellingson, talked to him before the race, and he said, "You know what? I hate this track. I just don't like Kansas. Just doesn't work for my driving style." And so everybody's got those tracks. Everybody's not going to be good at every single style track. You know, there's so many different variety of tracks that we race on. And, you know, to be good at all of them is a, very rare thing. And so on those nights where you're at a track you're not very good at and you're in the playoffs, you have to just make do the best you can. Try not to get too much. You don't want to push it too hard, end up wrecking yourself and out of this thing trying to get more than your car and your abilities are able to do at a certain track. So Jacob right now running 6th. That's perfectly fine. You know, you run 6th, you finish in 5th. That's a good night. You see, he gets a little bit tight there. Oh, Scott Phelps does as well and gets into the wall. But Tanner Bethea, I think Tanner got in the wall too, but just enough that he was able to get a nice run off of 4. And you see Scott Phelps now falling back to Charlie Harcum. So Scott Phelps going to have to kind of get it all regrouped to get back going. But Jacob, you know, this is the test of a champion. If you want to be a champion, these are the nights you have to do really well at. Take it opportunities when you can. You know, if you're supposed to finish 5th and you finish 3rd, that is good enough. That's pretty much a win when you're in a 2-round playoff. So Jacob doesn't have to do too much here. He doesn't like the track, doesn't like the way that it drives, doesn't think that he's very good at it. Do the best you can. Find a good, rhythm. Try to maintain that track position and get a good finish, because it'd be so difficult to make up a big mistake. So, but all your playoff drivers starting to rise to the top. Chance Taylor back into the top 10. George Jewell up into the 12th position. George, like I said, he's always somebody's going to make his way up towards the front. And right now, that's exactly what's happening as he is really working these tires here on the later run. He is, George Jewell, actually the fastest car on the track at the moment. So how about that? George Jewell fans, I know you're out there in chat. From starting 19th, he is up to 12th. You see him working that bottom line. We talked a little bit about that. It's going to make passing difficult, but as these guys start to wear their tires out, they start to bounce off the wall, George will be able to drive right on by. So, again, George, one of the fastest cars on the track. He is definitely making that car work there on the bottom. George this time kind of goes up to the middle groove, and I like this. I like what he's doing. He's putting a lot of pressure on that right front, but he's also getting clean air on the front of that car, which is allowing him to have a little bit more downforce, something to help that car turn. Right down to that bottom again. See if he can make this pass, get inside the top 10. I'm telling you right now, George Jewell is on his way to a top 5 if he can keep this up. He is really moving at the moment. Watch as he tries to work on Daniel Blow. I want to see if anybody can make that bottom work, or if George is going to have trouble getting around him here later in this run. The 24 laps on these tires, and right now you can see down on the inside, he drove it down to try to get underneath Daniel Blow, but not quite able to do it. That outside line still gets a massive run off the corner, and George just not able to keep up the momentum. You see he's actually losing some time now as Daniel Blow gets a tow here to try to run down Chance Taylor. Chance up against the wall again. Daniel going to look down to the inside. This is good for George. He's going to like to see these guys battle. But Daniel, in that Oregon Ducks number 17 machine, going to drive down to the inside. Not all the way down to the inside, but just right around that middle line, trying to keep that car going. And see as he pushes off the corner, but Chance actually gets into the wall. That should be an easy pass. And so now Chance Taylor, again, contact with the wall. George Jewell takes over that position. Now he's going to go for two. Going for a twofer. Looking down to the inside. Gives a wide berth. And, I like that out of George. George smart. That is smart. Why would you give that much room off the corner? Well, he's already saw Chance Taylor bounce it off the wall, so you know it's possible. And if he does that, you do not give him that extra room. He's going to yank it off the wall and turn it right into you. So George knows what he's doing, giving a lot of room. And he's going to settle in the 11th position. Right up in front of him, it's been a really great battle. Scott Phelps continues his march towards the front. And he's got Charlie Harcum right behind him. But Tanner Bethea working that high side in that number 20 machine. 79 down to the bottom. You see just the run. Look at the run. The 20 gets off the corner. And, the 20 is going to get in the wall. Now Daniel Blow gets in the wall. So we're starting to see these tires start to fade as this run goes on. And those folks that have been running that bottom like George Jewell, they're going to find a little bit of, this is all right in front of George. George could pick up 4 spots in a heartbeat if he continues the pace that he has been running. He can find himself in 7th before the next 10 laps or so. Tanner Bethea, he can't get any closer, and there he is. He makes contact with the wall. He's actually going to get stuck here. Charlie Harcum makes a wild maneuver. Look at George coming up through here. He's like, I'm going to take some spots here. Drives right around Daniel Blow on the outside, and now he's on the back bumper of Charlie Harcum. Look at this battle we got. This is why I love Kansas. This is exactly why right here. You're looking at it. This is why it is so much fun. Look how many lanes they can work and still be fast. Daniel trying to work that bottom line. George going to settle in right behind Harcum. as that contact with the wall really kind of shook up this little group. Daniel Blow drives really deep into the corner, and George does not have a great turn 1 and 2 as he's going to likely lose that position. And it looks like Chance Taylor was going to follow along, so George goes right back down to the bottom, and you can see the run that Daniel Blow is going to have on the outside. So great opportunity for George, just not quite able to capitalize, and once you let somebody get to the outside like that, it's tough. Still looks like he's a little bit faster. See if he can slide up in front of the 17 here. I think he's got it. Yeah, so George back in action. He's going to be able to slide up in front of that 17. And he is inside the top 10 now, up into the 9th position. What a great drive. Biggest mover of the race so far. So great story out of him. We'll keep tabs on that as we go up front. Jamie Barkas been slowly creeping in on his teammate. They kind of trade lap times back and forth. Jacob Denson out to a 1.2 second lead over Ryan Pendleton. Ryan Pendleton less than a second over Dravitt. And then you have this battle right here. This is Barkas and Patrick Dravitt. As Patrick starting to fade just a little bit here, as we have some laps on the tires. We talked about it in the race analysis, about 50 to 54 laps. So they have another 20 laps to go before they come down the pit road and get 4 tires of fuel. So it's not the time to start pushing that car a little bit too hard. I got to go back to this battle. This battle is the best on the track. Scott Phelps leads it, but man, look at George Jewell now down to the inside. He's going to have a tough time. I mean, no doubt about it. George playing a little bit too nice at the moment. And too nice is not a bad thing, but you can see he gave Daniel Blow that outside. He's really got to take that away from Daniel. He can't allow him to get the run off the corner. Got to put that car in front of that 17 machine so you can move forward. And you can see now he's going to go back behind that 17. Seems like in 1 and 2 that outside's really good, but George has been really good in 3 and 4. This time, though, you see the speed difference. Oh, as George is going to blink out for a second. That's not good. There he comes back. So George is learning at the moment. It's the bottom side is you have to be so patient. And you can see he's actually, when he come off the bottom there, he lost a lot of time. Chance Taylor had a massive run on him, but now these three are going to battle it out. Scott Phelps, Charlie Harcum, Daniel Blow. Scott Phelps starting to fade just a little bit here. As, got some people coming down pit road. Chance Taylor going to give up that 10th place, come down pit road. Likely going to get a faster pair. We've seen him get in into the wall a couple times. So we'll see if he does take that faster pair. He's definitely going to take 4 tires and fuel. We'll see as they come out who wins that battle. But pit road is wide open. Jamie Barkas now comes down pit road along with Jacob Ellingson. Right now, Levi McCarty, Matt Knights have both used their faster pair. Chance Taylor comes out of pit road, does not get a faster pair. So the damage to that 14 must not be too bad. So pit road wide open as guys feel like they can make it from here all the way to the end, which they can. And we'll see. I think Jacob Denson here out front, he will run it a little bit long. I just don't like short pitting anymore. I think I've turned the corners to watch Ryan Pendleton come down pit road now. Short pitting, I just don't see the advantage anymore on ovals. I've always been a guy that would short pit, try to jump over someone, but running long has worked out so many times because it does two things. Is we try to find a camera that can actually see, but it does two things. If you stay out and you run long, if you get a caution, you're not trapped a lap down. So that's a big thing for running long. If you short pit, you go a lap down, and you may find yourself in trouble as Jacob Denson, your leader, comes down pit road to make his what could be a final stop. But yeah, if you run long, you know, if you short pit, you have to worry about that caution coming out, trapping you a lap down. And if you run long, you know, if you catch that caution just right, it works out perfectly. And once you come down pit road, you run these tires all the way to the end, run the fuel out here. You're going to come out of pit road with a pretty big deficit, but your tires are going to be so much better that you're going to be able to make passes. We've seen George Jewell struggle to make those passes, even though he's a little bit faster. But if you have 20-lap fresher tires, 15-lap fresher tires, we already saw what the difference was for Joe Yakes, who stayed out. You know, that could make a huge difference and make it so much easier for you to drive up through the field. So your leader, Scott Phelps, now peels off. He's going to give the lead over to Charlie Harcum and bring that 79 machine down pit road. So about half the field has come down pit road to make their stop. And that leaves Charlie Harcum with Daniel Blow battling for 1 and 2. And look right behind them. This is your lap. They're trying to get back on the lead lap. This is a battle for what could be the lead. As you see, Ryan Pendleton's actually out front. He was able to jump over Jacob Denson. Oh my goodness, Jamie Barkus down to the inside as he gets turned by Jacob Denson. And what a save by Jamie Barkus. He comes back up on the track. He's going to lose a ton of time, but that was a fantastic save there for the 15 machine. Let's take a look at that again. That was wild. You can kind of see it coming as they're trying to deal with lap traffic, and I think Jacob was expecting him to go up a little bit. Jamie, what a save. My goodness. That was wild. You can see the difference in tires. They're just catching guys at the weirdest times. Watch right here. What a save by Jamie Barkus. Back up on the track he goes. Wow. That could have been disastrous for the 15. But he stays out on the track, and yes, he lost some position, but he's still in 10th, and he's got positions he can gain, and he's to unlap himself at the moment as he's going to drive up on, I can't see who that is. Oh, the 19 of, I don't know who the 19 is, but goes around the 19, maybe Stephen Bartlett, who should be the 39, I don't know. But Jamie Barkus is able to unlap himself now. And so now the lead is going to cycle around to Ryan Pendleton. And, you know, in this moment, I mean, I'm just, you know, we're talking about short pitting and long and going long. And Jacob Denson pitting literally one lap after Ryan Pendleton gave Ryan the jump that he needed to get in front of him. I don't know about that call. That's an interesting call. If you're gonna if a guy comes down pit road and you can go long, just run it long, and then run them down at the end of it. But Jacob comes down just a lap later, so his tires are not going to be that much better, and he's going to have to drive up through not only Patrick Dravick, but Levi McCarty, which he does get by just right there. But he's going to have to drive up through Patrick Dravick if he wants to get to the lead, Ryan Pendleton. But Charlie Harcum is your leader. Still waiting on him, Daniel Blow, Matt Knights, and Jonathan Barker to come down pit road, and then we'll cycle back around to the 23 of Ryan Pendleton. Jamie Barkus down to the inside of John Anthony. John Anthony still has yet to come down pit road, so Jamie's still in the top 10. That could have been bad for that 15, so I gotta give him all the props in the world. That was a great recovery. Now, you know, I talked to him before the race, and he said, well, I'm just having technical difficulties. My steering wheel's not feeling right. My pedals, I don't feel them. I usually have vibration and in my pedals. I've got, you know, steering wheel with force feedback. It's all not working right. And if you ever listen to a NASCAR driver or any driver, when their comfort is off, when something is not right, they notice it immediately. They race in these cars all the time. So when something's not right, it could throw off your whole, your whole style, everything. It throws everything off. And it's no different from sim racing. If your chair moves a little bit, I notice when I'm driving if my chair is not exactly where I normally race, and if I'm hey, what, I'm to the right a little bit, I'm off a little bit. So you notice those things. It definitely makes it feel weird, and it kind of throws off your concentration. You can't hit your same lap times like you normally would. I mean, things like your chair. I mean, we race in all kinds of things. Some of these guys have big rigs that are bolted to the floor basically and no movement, but I race in a computer chair. I used to have just regular wheels on it, and I'd push the brake and my chair would roll backwards, and that's not a big deal to most of you, but it does make a difference when things aren't right. Things are not working like they should. Your focus goes off your line, hitting that line every time. And wow, that was a really long-winded way of saying Jamie with those issues. What a great save he had. So it seems like he doesn't need force feedback after all. Maybe that's something to think about. We move up to what will be the battle for the lead. Daniel Blow has taken over that lead, but they still have to come down pit road. Jacob Denson now to the inside of Patrick Drabick. One lap fresher tires. We'll see if he can make that move. You just got to wonder how much tire they're saving versus using at the moment, as there's still quite a bit of ways to go. 35 laps before this thing is over with. Matt Nice comes down pit road. He'll make his final stop as Jacob Denson continues to work here on Patrick Drabick. And he is going to slide up in front of him, make contact with the wall. Woo! Holy moly, as they almost made massive contact with going forward with Patrick Drabick. He takes over that spot again as Jacob really wanted to do a slider there. Gets up into the wall, and Patrick does a great job of staying off of and gets down to the inside and retakes that position. So a little setback there for Denson. I wonder if that contact with the wall may have caused a little bit of damage. You see Jacob Denson blinking a little bit. That's always a concern here. These rounds only being two races, man, it's just so stressful. You don't have a whole lot of opportunity. You can't really make a mistake. I mean, right now, Trevor McManus really not happy, as he's really in a hole now, and he just can't afford to have a bad race. So, like Denson here, you want to go up there and lock yourself in. That is a massive, massive thing to be locked in. Then you don't have to worry about next week at all at Phoenix. But you make one little wrong move, one small bad decision, and all of a sudden you're racing for your life next week. So, gonna see how this all plays out. We still have a long way to go. Just a little over 30 laps as Jacob Denson really starting to put pressure here on Patrick Drabick again. I was looking down, and Patrick Drabick goes to lead as Ryan Pendleton has a problem. I'm sure you saw it. I was looking at another screen trying to look at some info, and boy, I missed it. Ryan Pendleton must have gotten into the wall. Let's go back and see what happened to him. On board with Ryan Pendleton, he's got the nasties. And you're going to see right here, makes contact with the wall, gets stuck. And once he does that, he loses all his momentum. And here comes Patrick Drabick right around him. And y'all probably saw that, but I didn't. So we wanted to go back and see that. So now Patrick Drabick up to the lead. And now we got a battle for the lead as Denson was able to get to the outside. And Jacob Denson going to take over the lead after that mistake from Ryan Pendleton. Just what he needed. Back out front goes to number 7. Oh, and Ryan Pendleton going to get a little bit of that wall again, and that's music to Jacob Denson's ears. Now they're chasing Denson with older tires, at least one older tire, maybe a little bit of damage, as now they're Ryan and Patrick really struggling here. Well, let's talk about some things we got going on as we continue to watch these guys race for this top spot. But coming up this weekend, you got the Goat Lockers partnered up with Nasty's Restaurant and Bar of Hilliard, Ohio, for their fundraiser event. They always do a fundraiser every single year, and this year it's going to be broadcasted at Nasty's Restaurant and Bar in Ohio. That's really, really cool. So the idea is to try to raise money, $2,500, in order to provide a sim rig to one of our nation's warriors. And so come on out Saturday. Starts at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And come check out that fundraiser event. Be a part of it. They've got drivers, all-star race, drivers that have won championship races. All are going to be there, and it's going to be a blast. So definitely come out, check that out. We're going to have Justin Prince. Justin Prince and William White will be calling the show, so that'll be fun. I want to make sure I didn't butcher his last name. I thought that's what it was, but I didn't want to make that mistake. So this Saturday is going to be a lot of fun, so come on out. That'll be on Podium, and looking forward to that, as we'll be running the Xfinity car at Las Vegas, 120 laps. Just going to be a great event. I mean, to partner with a restaurant and bar, to have the Goat Locker race, the All-Star race, the fundraiser be broadcasted, in a bar, for others to see. More exposure for Goat Lockers, always a good thing. More exposure for sim racing. Maybe there's somebody out there that doesn't know that this is even a thing, and you get out there and maybe, hit that subscription, buy them a wheel, get out here and race. You just never know. It's always good to have a good audience, a new audience, and should be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. And somebody we need to continue to talk about here is Jamie Barkus, man. He is up into the 5th position, and he is hunting down Levi McCarty here towards the end of this thing. Got a little less than 25 laps to go, and he is trying to break into the top 4 after going for a ride down down into turn 1, almost wrecked. And look at him now, back up, fighting for the 4th position. And Ryan Pendleton is slow on the track. Something is majorly wrong with the 23. It looks like he has got big damage on that right front. And so Ryan Pendleton looks like he is I don't know what's going on with Ryan. He is down on the apron, something majorly wrong. Big damage to that 23. Let's see if we can go back and find out what happened to him. You can see him going through the grass here. We'll back it up just a little bit. He had Patrick Drabick on his bumper. We'll see, does he get into the wall? Coming off the corner. Same thing that happened to Chance. He goes through the grass. And I don't know what happened, but he is... It looks like that right front is really, really tore up. He is down on pit road now, so big development for your once leader, Ryan Pendleton, who is now sitting on pit road, falling spots, and another playoff driver with issues here tonight. That is the story of the race. And then we go back up here, and Jamie Barkus making the most of it as he is still trying to get around Levi McCarty, which was for 4th, but now is for a podium position. And pop quiz for you guys. Who is the fastest car on the track in chat? Tell me who you think the fastest car on the track is. I think we all know who it is. I'm gonna see what y'all think. Tell me who the fastest car on the track is in chat. Right here as we watch Jamie Barkus continue to work on Levi. He's just putting pressure on him. He knows if he goes down to the inside, he's gonna struggle. So he's trying to just put pressure on Levi to make a mistake. You drive really deep into these turns, especially on the outside, and you can tell when a guy's going to hit the wall. You drive in deep, and he drives in way further than you think he ought to. You start to drag that brake a little bit, wait for him to hit the wall, and drive right under him. So right now, Jamie just making sure Levi knows that he's behind him. Say, hey, you see me in your mirror, watch out. Ray Ellingson. Colin Bontrager says, George Jewell, and you are absolutely right. George Jewell is the fastest car on the track at the moment. He is hunting them down one at a time. He's on the back bumper of Scott Phelps, trying to move his way up into the 6th position. But, man, look at this drive. 12 positions George has gained. Others have had issues. Ryan Pendleton now pretty much out of this race. Trevor McManus out. Both playoff drivers gone. Charlie Harcum, not a playoff driver, but he is out of it as well. And then you've got these guys who are making the most of it. Jamie Barkas able to recover, and George Jewell just slowly, methodically working his way up into the top 10, and now starting to hunt folks down here for a top 5. He's got just over 15 laps to get it done, but it's still a fantastic drive for this 36. He's going to work here on Scott Phelps, try to get around him. He's going to have to get, if he gets around him, I think he's got enough for Jacob Ellingson. Actually, I don't think he does. They're about 5.5 seconds back. I'm not sure that they can get that done, but still a great drive. Here we go. Jamie Marcus now to the inside. Going to give a little, hey, how you doing to Levi McCarty. Drive it deep into the corner. See if he tries to slide him right here. And he does. So right in front of Levi. Levi's going to look down to the inside. Jamie going to try to defend it. But now he's got the outside. We'll see if Levi going to try a slider on Barkas. Not able to do it. Barkas going to have the run off the corner. Levi's going to have to lift. And here comes Jacob Ellingson to follow him through. Now these drivers are about 4.8 seconds back from Patrick Drabick, who is another 3 seconds back from your leader, Jacob Denson. So those two drivers have had a phenomenal race. Made very minimal mistakes. And right now, Jamie flirting with that outside wall. Good grief. He was as high as you could possibly get. Call him Snoop Dogg. As you see Levi McCarty starting to fall back. Those tires really screaming. Now the 27. Going to put pressure on his teammate. Watches Jacob Ellingson, who hates this track, making lemonade out of lemons here, trying to battle his teammate for a top 3. Just 13 laps to go. He doesn't have any pressure out back. So go look right here. George Jewell now looking down to the inside of Scott Phelps. Been working on that 79 for a while. We'll see if he can complete that pass. Scott's starting to get a little tight in the middle. That takes away that top line advantage, but still off the corner, the run off the top side is just so strong that George really has to be patient here and not push it a little bit too hard. You got to wait for Scott to have to lift a little bit too much and then try to slide up in front of him and take that advantage. But George not able to make that pass just yet, but he is still marching forward. Battle for 6th position, this is. Trying to bounce back and forth between these battles as one of them gets close, and Ellingson will get a little closer, and then here comes George back down to the inside. George gets a great run through that corner. Going to draw even. Loses a little bit as that outside run. Able to make a lot of speed there, but George just harassing Scott Phelps at the moment. George didn't have a good corner there. Kind of slid back just a little bit. Nine laps to go in this race. Jacob Denson still with a 3-second lead over Patrick Gravitt. Jamie Barkis in third, Jacob Ellingson in fourth, Levi McCarty top 5, Scott Phelps in 6th, George Jewell in 7th, who we're on board with right now. Craig Bontrager in the 8th position, Regis Clark in 9th, Daniel Blow is your top 10. Joe Yakes, who we saw stay out there on those tires. You're going to see it's just a strategy that, you know, could work if you get the cautions you need, but right now he's in 12th. I mean, with really great recovery. As, man, look here, Levi McCarty having some real issues towards the end of this thing. Here comes George Jewell down to the inside, going to follow him through. George Jewell up to 6th as Levi McCarty has an issue. Levi's got the oldest tires pretty much in this bunch. And you could definitely see he's starting to fade. The 44 there, that is Jonathan Barker. He is multiple laps down. Levi really struggling towards the end of this run. And now Scott Phelps has moved up into the top 5. I mean, all playoff drivers, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. That ought to tell you everything you need to know about the round of 8, just how strong it is. Ryan Pendleton was up front. Trevor McManus had his issues early. All those guys, playoff drivers. Chance Taylor, we saw him make contact, go through the grass. He's running in 11th. So pretty good races, recoveries for some of these folks. I think it's been a pretty good race for most of the playoff drivers tonight. We'll see if George can make this pass as they get almost 6 laps to go. There it is, 6 laps to go now. We'll see if George can complete this pass. Ellingson still within about 2.5 tenths of Jamie Barkis, not quite able to close that gap. But Jacob Denson now extends his lead out to 3.5 seconds. We'll see if George can finally make this pass. He has been working on Scott for a while. Down to the inside. Here comes Jorel. I merged his names. Comes off the bottom here. Has about a nose to that left rear. Just not enough. You can see just how good his car still is. Now, if I were George, I would get up on the outside. I would ride right behind Scott Phelps. I would get me a big old run off of one of these corners, then dive down to the inside. Go with the outside right behind him, follow him off the corner, and then dive down to the inside and try to use that momentum from the previous turn to make that pass. But he is trying to work the bottom in both ends, and it's just not working. It's starting to bog him down. Scott Phelps doing a great job of holding him up, and you know, if he's not careful, Levi's going to get back to the outside. As across the line. 4 laps to go for Jacob Denson. We continue to watch this battle as George Jewell tries to complete this really amazing playoff-style run up into the top 5. Just not quite able to make the bottom work as they are now 42 laps on these set of tires. Big run here. We'll see what he can do with it. Going to work that middle line this time. Going to try something a little bit different. I like it. Going to drive down off the corner. Going to get a nice run. We'll see if he can do something with it here in 3 and 4. Not quite able to get close enough. Going to dive back down to the bottom. That 36 seems to work really well off that bottom side. Just going to be difficult to make it work, especially with these tires as old as they are. But white flag is out for Jacob Denson. I said if he got out front, he is going to be tough to beat. You don't want to let him get out front. Ryan Pendleton makes a mistake and lets Jacob Denson get by, and that is all she wrote. Down the back stretch, no one around him. Jermaine about half a straightaway ahead. But Jacob Denson, one of the best drivers, currently a points leader this season, has been pretty lights out. Has 3 wins on the season, going for number 4, and that will lock him into the Final 4. Jacob Denson wins here at Kansas. Patrick Rabbit comes home in second, across the line. Jacob Ellingson was able to get by Jamie Barkus there at the end, and coming across the stripe, George Jewell nose to tail with Scott Phelps. He comes home in 5th. Wow. Well, we missed watching the other battles. We didn't see Jacob Ellingson get around Barkus, but he had been working on him for a while. And Ellingson finally able to get around him and took home the 3rd spot. Let's see if we can go back and find out exactly when that happened. We'll give you a little replay here. Show the pass there for Jacob Ellingson that got him 3rd place. We'll speed it up a little bit. That's all right. You can see this big run right here. Barkus been holding him off for quite a while, and oh yeah, Barkus just gets into the wall. Same thing we've seen all night, and that's all that Jacob Ellingson needed, and that's where he took home the win. So, all right, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a small break. We'll be right back for the results and your interviews, and we'll see what Jacob Denson thought about that and the rest right after this. All right, well, we are back here at Kansas. Race over, your winner, Jacob Denson, with a great run to the end. And let's take a look at your results, see where everybody finished. 1 caution, 7 lead changes. What a great race. Patrick Rabbit comes home in 2nd, Jacob Ellingson in 3rd. Jamie Barkus in 4th, Scott Phelps in 5th. George Jewell completes a massive run up to the front, comes home in the 6th position. 7th, Levi McCarty. 8th is Craig Bontrager. Daniel Blow in 9th, and Chance Taylor rounds out your top 10. 11th, going to be Regis Clark with Joe Yates in 12th, Brian Provo in 13th, Tyler Justice in 14th. 15th, Matt Knights. Stephen Bartlett in the 16th position, Bobby Germain in 17th. 18th, John Anthony. 19th, Jonathan Barker. And Charlie Harcum rounds out your top 20. Big disappointments here. Going to have a lot of work to do next week. Ryan Pendleton up front all night long. Contact with the wall takes him out 21st. Tanner Bethea comes home in 22nd. Chris Sawyer in 23rd. And Trevor McManus out early comes home in 24th. Well, all right. Well, we love to talk to these drivers, see what they thought, and get their opinions on it. We're going to bring up your race winner, Jacob Denson, who comes away with the victory, locking himself into the next round. Jacob, I said, don't let Jacob get out front. It's going to be all over. And that's exactly what happened. A great win. Talk to us about your race here tonight.
Yeah, man, appreciate it, Eddie. Had a good night. I'm a fan of this track. It's one of my favorite tracks. Kind of had to get used to the high line. I'm not gonna lie. When I first started, I was running the low line, and my teammate said, "What are you doing? You need to get down from there." And thought that it was a lot faster. Tough race. I'm sitting here sweating right now because it was such a tough race. Had a good strategy going there. That first caution kind of threw us for a loop. I think I was expecting everybody to stay out, but everybody pit, and I just kind of followed the leader. I think we had one person stay out, and really that's what helped me get to the lead. It's so hard to pass. Once you got up there, you could kind of control what you did, and it was really about not making mistakes. But good race. I'm really happy with what we got. Can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, with it being two races in a playoff, it's so stressful. You don't have a lot of opportunity to make mistakes, and to be able to lock yourself into the next round. You come to Phoenix, you're gonna go race for a championship at Iowa in a couple weeks. So, this is a massive win. This is like that Vegas win in the round of 8 in the NASCAR series. I mean, it's just a massive win to get it here early. Next week, you come in carefree. We talk a little bit about that. How does it feel to be locked into the championship race?
It feels great. A lot of stress off of you. To be able to go to Phoenix and just have fun, pretty much. I'm obviously we're going to put our best effort forward. I'd like to learn as much as I can at Phoenix to try to take what we can to Iowa. But yeah, I can't stress how much this helps and kind of takes the pressure off.
Well, so far Jacob Denson's races seem like that you're a lot like Martin Truex Jr. When you win, you win by a lot, and you seem to really click at the couple of races. I mean, Vegas was the first time that we really saw you kind of lay down the law of what the 7 was going to bring to the table, and you just led I think like 90% of that race, just whoop their tails. Pocono was something similar, and then Bristol was the same way. Once you got out front, I mean, it was just nonstop Jacob Denson, and tonight was the same thing. So, what is it about you getting out front? It seems like when you're back in traffic, maybe certain tracks, what is it exactly that you think kind of lends itself to whenever you win, you're just dominating?
I'm not sure. I think it's just getting into a rhythm. I like the comparison to Martin Truex because I definitely want to try to bore everybody. I want to, just have it no green, no caution flags, all green. Once you get out front, you get that clean air, and you can kind of dictate what the race pace is. I'm not really sure what the difference is once I get out front or compared to being in the field. Obviously, having to pass cars. And with a track like this where it's so difficult to pass, once you got out front, is really just trying not to make mistakes.
Well, and you minimize mistakes. Some other playoff drivers, potentially one of them that you would probably expect to be fighting with in the Final Four. Trevor McManus had an issue here tonight. So a couple drivers having issues. Most of your playoff drivers still up there, but man, you're locked into the Final Four. You're racing for a championship regardless. So man, congratulations on that win. That's win number 4 on the season, more than anybody else. And man, who you got to thank?
Definitely want to thank you guys for putting on this series. Goat Locker Racing, you guys do a great job. We love being in this series. A lot of good drivers, strong competition. This is one of the better leagues we've been in. I want to thank V Speed, Red Beard Design Company, Veterans for Life Foundation, Jam Printing and Promotions, Right Now Roofing, Cruising Classics, and of course our own shout outs to BNH Racing, BNHIT, Phelps Media, and of course Little Miami Brewing on the hood. Again, if you're ever in the Miami, Ohio area, check them out. A lot of good food and even better beer.
Well, all right. Well, there you have it. Winner, championship 4 driver Jacob Denson takes home the victory here in Kansas tonight. But we've had some other drivers that have some pretty good runs tonight, and Patrick Dravick, one of them. Patrick, Kansas, a lot of fun, and you had a pretty fast hot rod. That Right Now Roofing 07 was smoking here tonight. Talk to me a little bit about your race. How did it go? You kind of hung around the top 3 all night. What was that car driving like? And maybe what did you need a little extra there at the end?
I tell you, Eddie, I mean, the race just didn't quite go the way that I probably needed to go. I mean, it's a pretty well known fact. I do not like riding the wall, so I was a little out of my comfort zone up there. Riding around and driving this car off the right rear. Definitely found some speed in the car in the latter parts of these runs. But I mean, Denson was just bad fast, man. Through the middle part of that one run, he would just walk away. And towards the end of the runs, I could match his lap times and things like that. But man, he was just bad fast.
Well, you had a heartbreaker at New Hampshire this season. Was on pace to win that race and had I don't know if I can't remember if it was a disconnect issue or some sort of wheel issue, and then you fought back and won at Watkins Glen next week in dominant fashion. Here at Kansas, coming home in second, it gives you a nice little point cushion going into Phoenix. Um, you know, I mean, you're not completely locked in. It's such a weird feeling to finish second, but I mean, Phoenix going to be an interesting race. I mean,
Well,
Phoenix is sort of a wild card. It's an odd track. It's a little bit different than what most people are used to, but with you being good at maybe a New Hampshire and Watkins Glen, does Phoenix kind of fall into your wheelhouse?
yeah, I enjoy Phoenix. Especially it's a fun track, and there's so much that goes into it. Whether you cut the dog leg, where you don't cut the dog leg, really how you run, like what I guess it is now, turns 1 and 2. You'll see guys use the apron. You'll see them use it in real life as part of the corner. So Phoenix has so many different ways that you can run that track. So many different lines. It's fast. It's fun. Those restarts are going to be wild. So yeah, I mean. I feel like you said, it's kind of a weird spot to run second. I feel good about that. Love getting this, 0-7 right now roofing, on the podium here tonight. Got a 6 point buffer, to the cut line going into next week to make the championship four. Not super comfortable with that, but I'd rather be on this side of the cut line than the other there, Eddie.
Yeah, for sure. So mistakes to a minimum. And tonight, I think you were one of the few drivers that didn't have a massive mistake. I mean, your teammate Jamie Vargas went flying down through the into turn one on the apron, and then your Ryan Pendleton also same thing, went through going through the grass, flying all over the place. Jacob Denson got into the wall,
Yep.
but you were able to hang on to it, not really have any big mistakes. I think next week that's sort of what you're looking to do. Just run really well, run like you did tonight, not having any mistakes, and then go to Iowa to fight for a championship. So, man, congratulations on this second place run. You got a little buffer, like you said, over the cut line. And next week going to be sitting pretty if you can get. I don't know what I'm saying here. I'm falling apart. But anyway, congratulations. Good luck next week, and who you have to thank.
Well, obviously, right now, roofing and all that they've done here for Goat Locker Racing, not only sponsoring tonight's series, but they were the first organization to step up and sponsor a veteran sim rig, and I can't be more thankful to them. Jam Pringan Promotions, Cruising Classics out of Columbus, Ohio. Everything that you're doing, Eddie, at V Speed Network, Nazareth 360, Redbeard Design, Above the Yellow Line, the Veterans for Life Foundation. They've done so much here in Goat Locker Racing as well. It's really cool to see all the Veterans for Life Foundation, decals on all these different cars and all the things we do. And Eddie, we got some new people to thank coming up this Saturday. Coming up, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar in Hilliard, Ohio, is doing a big fundraiser for us, so we can give away another veteran sim rig. I could not be happier. Our race on Saturday that goes off at 8 p.m. will be broadcast live in that restaurant, and of course, all YouTube channels and things like that. And then we've got a great new partner to announce, which is Lincoln Tech. Lincoln Technical Institute, one of the biggest automotive schools in all of the United States, has come on board in a very big way. So be on the lookout for a lot of cool things. If you've watched our social media, you see we've got a car show here in Indianapolis at the Lincoln Tech campus, Goat Locker Racing. All proceeds from that car show are going to Goat Locker Racing. So we're just doing some really awesome things thanks to a lot of great people and a lot of great organizations. Lots of big news to come up. But Eddie, I can't appreciate you enough and all that you do. And looking forward to next week and hopefully getting the 0-7 into that championship four at Iowa.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's your second place finisher. On one more step away from getting into that championship race. Patrick Rabbit comes home in second. But his teammate able to fight back on a race that he said he hated, a track that he does not like at all. And then dadgummit if you didn't come away with a third or well, I don't know why it says second place on the dang There we go. Third place for Jacob Ellingson. So, man, I don't know how'd you do it. You were riding back in sixth that first run, just kind of chilling, trying to find your bearings, and then found something at the end as guys started to fall off, making contact with the wall, and you're able to come away with third place, passing your teammate there with just a couple laps to go.
Yeah, it was pretty unfortunate for Jamie. I was just gonna ride behind him and not fight anything because I knew he needed a little extra help in getting some points to try to make it into the final four. So I was just gonna ride behind him, and he just ended up smacking the wall and that coming to the white flag or something like that. And then I just for that second portion of the run, I just kind of was just relaxing it and just was gonna finish where I finished. I mean, and then that's when everybody started falling back to me. I'm like, holy crap, did I save that much? And then just started passing guys and lucked out into coming in third.
Well, in a race, this is a beating a dead horse, but two race playoff is always really tough. There's just so many things that can go right, and so many things that can go wrong. A couple of your fellow playoff drivers, Trevor McManus, Ryan Pendleton, with issues here tonight. They finished 24th and 21st. So being able to take a track that you don't like, something that you say, admittedly, I don't like this place at all, and then turn it into a third place finish, it's got to make you feel good about your chances at a championship, as we move into the next couple races.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think just for me, the key is just solid finishes, a couple solid top five finishes, and then I'll make it in. I'm not looking to do anything spectacular. Just solid top fives and call it a day.
All right. Well, tonight you did exactly that. Got an interview. That's always what I strive to do. I always say if you get an interview every week, you're doing pretty good. So third place for Jacob Ellingson. You're going to move that much closer to a title. And as always, man, who you got to thank here tonight?
Definitely got to thank the title sponsor Right Now Roofing for coming on board and sponsoring the Xfinity Series. Cruising Classics, Jam Printing and Promotions, Redbeard Designs, Premier Racing Setups, Nazareth 360 for doing the broadcast Wednesday, Thursdays, Premier for doing the broadcasts on Fridays, and then last but not least, for our GLR sponsors, got to thank you for coming on board and doing Tuesday nights. It's been a blast all season, and can't wait to go back and watch this and the future races that hopefully you do for GLR. And then got to thank my beautiful girlfriend for allowing me to do this along with all the kids.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's your third place finisher, Jacob Ellingson, with a great run to the finish. And the finish is the best place to finish. That's a good place to stop. So, man, I tell you what a great race. Another good one in this series. And you know what? I've got to give out a little award here tonight. And I got to give the driver of the day. That's the George Jewell. Drove all the way up. Let's see, what the heck? There it is. Started 19th, comes home in 6th place. That is your driver of the day. And you know what? He's going to be below the cut line. He is going to sit 6th in points. Those guys up front, they were able to get more points tonight. They had more points from wins during the regular season. So George going to be still below the cut line, but he is going to be way better off than he was before, way down at the bottom. So he's just let's see, he's about 5 points off of that final 4th spot. So George Jewell going to be the driver of the day for that really great drive up towards the front. So, well, all right. Well, that's going to do it for us here tonight. Got to thank all of our sponsors. Got to thank Goat Locker for their, just all the work Pat and Jamie do to keep this thing rolling and give these guys a fun place to race. Multiple different series, all kinds of cars, whatever you want to race, you can do it. That's the Right Now Roofing Xfinity Series. And as they talked about this weekend, tune in. If you're in Ohio, around Hilliard, Ohio, well, heck, we want to stop in and watch Goat Locker on a big screen of a bar. Might as well go over to Nasty's Restaurant and Bar. Check that out. That's such a cool thing. Regardless of anything else. It's awesome. It's awesome to have your league broadcasted, your broadcast on a screen in a bar for other folks to watch. What is this? What is it? What are they doing? How does this look like? There's so many questions, and folks will be able to sit there and answer them, and maybe we'll get to talk to some of them. Who knows? So it's going to be a lot of fun regardless. I can't wait for that. And that's going to be April 27th. That's this Saturday, 7 p.m. Come check that out. That will be a lot of fun. And as Pat talked about, we have 13th annual charity car show, Anything on Wheels, Saturday, June 22nd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Indianapolis, Indiana. And that is Goat Locker partnering with Lincoln Tech College of Technology. Man, just really, really cool. So go and check that out if you're in that area. But that's it. We're going to call it a night. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see y'all next time as we go to Phoenix, out into the desert, see who is going to race for a championship.